Hey people, that last movie I was talking about, The Lord's Prayer, and I was showing that the super substantial, if you go to the Latin and you hit the translator, this is the Latin word. They choose not to translate any better. And what we think is our daily bread is, substantial is, oh, that's plenty there, and more than enough, more than above the amount that I need. Don of this hoodie, to put on his hoodie, the brother at the church, at the pan, the bread, where all the poor people to go get their bread, the pantry. So I backtracked to see what set me looking for the bread, and it was over here at Who Touch Us in Acts 20, and who touch us is raised from the dead. Who touch us raised from the dead? That's like a Viagra. But this is also, the ancient writings, raised from the dead. His ancient writings from Who Touch Us. And his writings really touched us, and ancient, brought back. And I still ain't figured out exactly what this art on is here, but I figured out what this Egyptian word for Egypt means. The Egyptian knights from the crimson us tie of UK us TIOV us tie from the crimson us tie of. You see that here, the crimson tide. When it talks about Egypt in the Hebrew Bible, it's talking about the gods, the ones wearing the crimson tie. Who brought you out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage, to assure who its addy commerce from in it a bidum, from the Krim, the Kremlin, the crown, the crimson, the dark blue red. Crimson, surely a word originated from where the product was from, or the color of royalty. A dye produced from an insect, like your red dye number 4. And I believe this is the one that the insect had went extinct in Europe, and they lost that color dye for a while until they got to the Americas and they started using this bug we got. The dyes were found in burial wrappings of Anglo-Scandinavian Yorks, and they fell out of use with the introduction of the conch. This is the bug that we have living on our prickly pear cactus. And this is the book of the log on me from the crimes on, from the crimson, from the crimes on us tie of. This would be the book of Egyptian knights. Ancient writings who touches us, brought back from the dead. And you can see that this is written in ancient scribe, the secret talk, but it's it's in the indidum what on, what they did. Indidum what on, a Sabbathon, a synage of men on, to come together, the synage, the act of men on coming together. The common, the like, the same, the common class. And so this bread here, this IA is reading as the WR, the wear, and the common class wear it on, the bread, and the common class wear it on of Pavlos. The Pav is poor. In Apostle Paul, disciple Paul, he goes out and searches for the poor lost souls. And the Pavlos, and this reads a Pava, the poor, and those people, los, you see it in the Greek, los, and Hebrew, los being the people. And the poor, those that die alleged to, through tell, through tell of this, TOIS, DES, THIS, this, of this. And the poor that through legit to, they learn of the smell on and the N reading is a V for the E. The smell of its sign of the Porion. The or, is the light in the Hebrew, and it's the gold. It's in Egypt, it's black. It's the ore, it's the stone, it's the gold. I have a hard time pinning a meaning on ore. But here in pour, it looks like the base product that you're working with before refining. In the porion, before refined. For it event. The for it event on the log on to write me the crimes on the crimson of. And so you're not seeing it here, but it's over here. You're reading all the markings. This is Ben or VEN and vendict and then dictum and and then dictum went on. So it's telling a couple different stories, but the endothem, the IA ring is a W, evolve, a what on, the endothem what on, not the first day. The first day comes after, with the next day with the porion. And so you got one group of people, that they were having their Sabbath on Saturday, and this was the Egyptian nights, the crimes, the crimson. And they would have their party on Saturday. And all the poor people, they didn't allege it to. The poor of the poor are to know Pavlos. Don't tell, the diallegit to. The poor lost diallegit to. Don't tell them to. Of the smell, it's the signage. They will let them know tomorrow, on the next day, when the porion get to eat at the feast of the parody event, the parody. It's like a Mardi Gras, where the poor people get to act like the rich people with plastic beads. The parody event it on, the book on from Crimson, the crimes on, the Egyptian nights, the Egyptian Astayav. But I keep getting a little closer to the meaning of this bread here. You can see here the A, and the IA becomes a U, and this is also the or. And like I say in Hebrew, they say the or is the light. In Egyptian, it's the black. In the Greek and the Latin, one of them said it's the ore, the stone, and one of them says it's the gold. But I showed in that movie yesterday, the Latin word for and let there be on the first day and let there be is fiat, and money to buy. And so in the Hebrew, the first word is let there be ore, let there be gold. Yea, gold. And so this is where this is switching right here, but no poor those dilegit to. And so it's talking about in didum what on, the end them what on, at the end of the week, at the first, the end them what on, in didum what on, the savvy, those people in the know knew that read as a VI, not a BB. It's the savvy, the ones that knew the savvy on, their Sabbathon was on the Saturday, the last day, to sin, to come together, the edge, the act of the men on sin, to come together, the sinnage men on the common class of gold, the gold or two, common class ore. So you don't know if that's black or gold or white. But these days, we would call those people white bread. And the class of ore, the white, to not the Pavlos, those poor people dilegit to, of the Smelion. And that looks like a play on the millions, Melion, the millions, all the smellies. of the smelly of its signage, the porion, and the light in the day is what that comes from. And for edov event it on, the log on from the crime, from the crimson. And so the octo, the octi of, that was the first gods of Egypt, the eight of, and from the Egyptian, from the crimson, octi, the eight of. And they were all snakes and frogs, they only came out at night. And then I look down a little bit and I see the word lampades, and this is not lamps. Lampades were these ancient spirits that come out with you to light the way at night, lampades. And it looks like an ancient measurement of brightness. How many lampades? And the crimson, then the bright crimson has on the lampades, like iconage, thou shalt not make an icon, the iconage into, and up the rue of common, up the ass of the common, the assembly, the synage men. And the OI reading as an E, and that's where they're getting this, the assembled, the many, and together did the many. So when you see that red sash in Egyptian art, when you see who's wearing that red sash, you know that they've all been initiated into the upper room club. And so what it is I done said it many times before, but the Bible is all written, it's by a bunch of faggots, what you would call them. That's the first thing God told Adam and Eve when he caught them. Why are your eyes open, you faggots? That's the Greek word. And the whole book, all these ancient writings, were about sticking these dyes up your ass. And from the crimes of the night, and from the crimson it on. Crimson probably coming from the ancient Spanish word, the dye that produced the red hue. The Christians don't want to believe it, but the whole reason for the King James Bible is because they didn't want you to know that the majority of the Bible was written by spirits drawn out, evil spirits drawn out of the earth, and they drawed them out by sexually molesting kids, sticking red hot pokers up their ass all their young life until they learned how to connect with these demons, and they would have these seances, and this is the words come out the demon's mouth, as so the story goes. And you'll see some of the same story in the Bible. It's written throughout of how they abuse kids to extract the demons. You don't see it in the King James Version. They translate it all out, but when it says to get you a young goat and go up to the mountain, that's a kid. And, you go out to the garden and you pick up a young plant to extract what you want out of it. Something that's got tender roots on it that you can mash out easily in your pan. The bread. And it was symbolized in the ancient art, This is you. Hebrews pronounce it as Jehovah, but it's a Y-E-U-E, it's a U. And this is pan. Pan means olive grease fucking you. Olive grease fucking you. When no way should you eat from all of the tree. A notice of faggot hap upon twos. To notice the faggot of hap upon two. And they ate, and we fag on. And God says, but why are your eyes open? And I think that means the Caucasians evolving from the Asians, and our eyes changed. How would you know that you're naked unless you are much vagina? A vagina is a pussy. A vagina is a man's pussy, his asshole. the vagina a part of the fag is? You done stuck it up your ass. And so, the man says, well, why is in no had 'em a gine? That means the man. I didn't have no had a vagina. And no had 'em a gine on. You were with a man. There wasn't no woman. There was no had 'em a gine on. In the Dukas, up your poop shooter, in the old Dukaroo. In the Dukas met with 'em of. In the Dukas met 'em of authorized. You've been authorized to autumn. The dole in what is dealt. A part of it's allow, and we fag on. And so I said something about God's chosen people being fags a couple movies ago, and that's just what it means is, the rest of us, we had a choice. We had a choice to what body we wanted to be in when we were born. We don't remember it. There was some kids, some paranormalists talk to them, and they say that they remember, picking out their body and their parents. Well, some people don't get that choice. They are God's chosen. And that's the God of earth is sticking that soul in a body. And they get here and they feel like, oh, I feel like a woman trapped in this body. It's because they didn't have a choice. You can't beat it out of them. They're born that way, and you cannot pray it or beat it out of them. And it's the God of earth that's been doing this forever, the God of earth, Janetta, the gene editor, and since she uses stress on the environment to change the evolution, to make creatures evolve so the plant survives and become a new species. The much the vagine, the asshole, a thought of the fag is. That's the Greeks. They get naked in a fight, and whoever wins the fight fucks other and up his vagine, his ass. And much vagine, a thought of the fags. And so a thought of, A-F-A-U-T, the thought of, is, that's a quick way of writing a pawpaw. When you're looking at Septuagint, these markings say that this reads a paw, and then back the other ways a paw, and then this reads again a pawpaw of what on, and a pawpaw what of, and a pawpaw is a pretty large fruit that you just shoved up your ass, and it's called the thought of the fag is trying to jam that big ass fruit up your ass. And then you're a curse. And the pick at a rat ass, and it's the same word that after you get hung on the cross. And if you look closer into that, you'll see that being hung on a cross means having a pole stuck up your ass. And so what if these fags, if they should take from the tree of life? What if these transformers transform? And the love habit of what's allow this is owes. You owe your life to the life. What's this owes? A fag who says to yeas, yea, let there be. Oh, what if we should have a fag in our government? Hey, yea, let there be. And yeas dawn. A join, and join up with our governing body. So I want to let y'all know right now that this is a homosexual funded channel. I believe all the contributions come from homos. Me being the biggest contributor, and I'm not fag or gay or anything. I'm a homo. And this is the good part about being gay. But God made men twice. There was two different men on earth, and the ones that were made according to his likeness, they caught the homo. They caught the same as in, the same as God. So God was homo. And what we caught was the cat. And the curiosity killed the cat. And the cat icona come the committer on. and catch the homo is in. And so the catch of homo is, why am I in this body? What is life about? Curiosity, and that's what I got. I am the same as God. I am curious. I want to know. The same as the homos. I am homo. I am like the homos that are like curious, like God. And everybody says that you can't be like God. You can't read. It plainly says, like homo is in, like God. Not you shall surely die, but for God knows, and knows for God, that in the day that you should fag it, when you stick that paw up your ass, the thought of your eyes will be opened, or done each this on day amon. The ophthalmum that we cessed as. We're fucking the eye, the ophthalmum that we cess, that we fucking up. As the. THEOI is another E. THEE. As the. The Janus Condis Colon. The royal title. THEE. The Janus. The woman that Janus contests. The colon. Upon or on. The one you call, the phone, the caller on. Call up the evil. The last time I looked into this, there was a Florida company that was granted permission from the government to investigate DMT in a pawpaw. Picking up pawpaws and putting them in your pocket. Way down yonder in the pawpaw patch. And this is taunt, to taunt, to don your wings, to taunt, and to taunt a pod, no feet, and no feet avise thee Etta. And so an apod, that's a serpent, and a no foot, a serpent. And the taunt is a no foot, the serpent avise thee Etta. The serpent from the Edda was the cat. And you see that in the Hebrew, when it says put a snake on a cross, it actually says put a cat on a pole. And that's what was going on in the Edda, that, the snake was disguised as a cat. And so back in the day, two men getting it on, that was known as a day, the Dago rodeos at the itch. Got the itches wanting to get to at a itching, comer a fag, and comer a faggot, a thought of. And this is reading as a DU, a done, and this reading as a ECH, and done each this on day. Like it was a tradition, every time you turn 13 years old, they jammed this pawpaw up your ass. And done each this on day on the ophthalmum, the eye we cessed as the Janus contests, the Janus competition, the Janus contests, to call on upon or on. And so everybody knows, that every day you should eat. Every day you should eat, an on-comer or a faggot. So it's a hell of a story, and what gives it the most credence is they're blatantly trying to hide the language. And you see it here, hidden. H-I-D-E-N, hidden. Beheld, not told to you. And beheld the woman, was an hidden vagina, what he call on. And talks will on his bruising, will cook. And what he arrests on this ophthalmos side, and the eye to behold, the ophthalmos side, and the warage of is tight of. The warage is tight of. It's a brand new hole. It ain't wore out. The W-O-R, the warage of. The warage on is is tight of. And gotta nosage. I'm curious. I gotta know. And gotta nosage. That thing edge, that thing caused by, gotta know. And will abuse it of the carp of the fruit. And that's the broken wrist type of fruit. The carp of and the wrist bone. And ought to we fag. Who'd and the fag, who the dole, who the gave, who I was dealt what to, on dry with no grease, and of this met of this, and this dry of this met of this, and we fag on. So I'm gonna tell all you old whores out there, when a man goes out to buy a boat, he's looking for the warage on is tight of. We want to see if it's got any slack in it. And so for all the Christians out there, your God wrote you a book. He warned you what's going to happen. He told you what's fixing to happen, and you try to hide it. You think by denying it, you can stop it from happening. No, it's in plain black and white in old English. And you're going to get married up, and your husband's going to be on dry of this. And on dry of this, met of this, and it's actually, the pan on, 8, the bread, the met of this, the pan. And so like I said in that movie yesterday, this G, it changes up between a G and an N. I'm not sure exactly when. I always just throw it up there and look at it both ways. And I'm going to cut this off here. Good day.